Hey man, welcome back to Man Time. You ever just bite off like way more than you can chew? Let's rebuild an engine today. Welcome to Man Time. Well, today we are going to be rebuilding this Polaris 570 engine, and I showed in that last video there I made a crucial mistake in evaluation of this cylinder. It has got a huge ridge and kind of a waffling where this piston has been coming up and stopping. I mean, no more machining marks on it. So ultimately this was the failure point. And let's look at this piston real quick also. Looks like it's actually in pretty good shape. Surprising, seeing the cylinder has kind of that waffling where these rings I think were coming up and seating, but that's what happens when you get in a mud pit and you just need to get the heck out of there, you know. As far as like blow-by though, I mean, I'm not seeing a whole lot. The cylinder or the piston on the exhaust side at the top is pretty worn and beat up. But other than that, it really doesn't look like too bad of a piston. Of course, the coating on there has rubbed off and worn off, and on the top side here, this is the exhaust side. Managed to get that one off of there, though. These split rings, one pro tip here is you're taking your stuff apart, get a rag stuffed down on that engine, so when you're putting everything together and taking it apart, you don't have stuff falling down, especially the timing chain. Learned that one the hard way. Anybody ever worked on a new 4-stroke dirt bike? Yeah. Anyways, let's get in here and look at the engine bay and look at where I'm starting with installing this new piston. I've got one of these, ring compressors, but I don't know how well that's going to work trying to get it up out of there. There's not much room in there. As I'm getting this jug on there, I don't know that this is gonna do the trick, but we'll see. We'll figure it out, right? That's what we do. Let's get a look in this engine bay. All right, so here's looking down into our engine bay, and you can see there you've got just kind of stuff all over the place. But this is your timing chain right here. And you can see I've got it wired out of the way so it doesn't fall down in there. Now, it doesn't look like it would fall all the way down and be like unretrievable, but either way, you want to zip tie that up out of the way. But so I'm going to be installing this new piston here, and getting that C-clip in there is going to be probably the most difficult part of it. And what you want to do there is put a rag up under here and make sure that it doesn't fall down in there. So I'll fumble around with this for a while and see if we can get this piston in. So a couple of the main tools you're going to want to have handy here is going to be a screwdriver, needle nose, making sure our wrist pin here is all cleaned up, making sure we get exhaust side facing exhaust side. And they've already got it aligned here for us a little bit where they think it's going to be easiest, I guess, to get the clip on. And this is the side that I took the clip off, so that's pretty smart on their part. Now the tricky part here is finding enough room to get this darn thing in there. And like I said, make sure you've got ample guarding, I guess you could call it, to keep and make sure that this ring, when it flies out of there, isn't going to go too far. So let's see if we can get in here. Yeah, it's gonna have to come. Let's see here. Looks like I might be able to get it in right there, and then just kind of grab it by an edge and probably jam it up in there a little bit. Yeah, just really difficult to figure out a path to get in there with this thing. Maybe through here. Yeah, make sure your engine's at top dead center, which it is. But yeah, just no easy way to get this thing fished in here. well, I've put a lot of clips on the wrist pins and pistons before, and this was by far the hardest. The way I finally got it in there was to hold it like this and kind of, I get this side started and then use the piston to kind of wedge it down and into place, but yeah, finally managed to get it on there. So if you're having troubles, this rag on top of the cylinder, from this dropping down in there, if I didn't have that, I'd be missing about 3 of these and digging with a magnet. So that's the best pro tip I can give you there. Okay, on to the next step. When you're doing a project like this, one of the most important things to do is figure out the order of operations. I think it's going to be a lot easier to get this in there without this. And what this is going to be your tensioner for your timing chain guide there. So we'll leave that sitting out for now. But you're going to have to feed your timing chain up through your gasket and then up through this, you know, before it goes down on there. But I just kind of want to get a feel for what it's going to be like to try to get these on there. And that is going to be a pretty tough deal. So I'm going to try to see if that ring compressor will come completely apart. And I also want to align my rings here so the openings are toward the intake. I may even go just 180. Well, no, it's a 4-stroke, so I guess it doesn't matter. I'll just go 180 out on either side like that, and yeah, that should work. Okay, let me see if this ring compressor is going to work. Course clean your mating surface really good. Wipe it down, degrease it, and this one actually had some moto seal like around the coolant ports here. So I'm going to go back with some moto seal also. And this one has got the torque spec on the bolts for the head here are ridiculous. It's another like 5-step, you know, back and forth deal where you're torquing it down, loosening it up, torquing it down, and then 180 twice to kind of feel it out. But I'll show you the specs here as we go to tighten these bolts down and stuff. But let's focus on seeing if we can get these rings compressed, do a test fit, and then we can put our base gasket and head gasket and all that stuff. So here's how this looks when it's not on there all the way. So this has a keyed hole on this side to tighten it up. So in order to get this on there and get it tight, I would have to have it like that, and then that's as far as it comes down. And then trying to get this on there, you know, just isn't going to work. So I am going to have to think about this one. I'll come up with a way to get this on there and then show it to you guys. Okay, so I've come up with 2 options here I'm going to try. One, I found this the strap wrench, and this is Plan B, which looks less effective. The other is to take, let's see here, I found this in the junk pile in my car, but take this, wrap it around here, and then electrical tape around that. And I think that is going to be Plan A. So we'll see if we can't make this work here. Here goes try number 1. Alright, so remember you've got to feed all your stuff up through the side here. Man, who would have thought the cylinder was bad on this thing? Anybody out there thinking the cylinder was going to be the culprit of all the problems this engine had? Okay, we are top dead center. Watch it go down here. of slop in here. Feels like I'm hitting a ring. Yeah, I am. My wheel came down a little bit and it's no longer compressing this ring. And this is a really good design. I really like everything that you've done here, Polaris. Okay. I mean, there's just so much slop. And I mean, there's a big land on the cylinder, I guess, to kind of help it go down. Sometimes if you jiggle it a little bit, it seems like it's hanging on this exhaust side. See if we can get a screwdriver in there and fish around for it. All right, you know what? Let's try it the old-fashioned way without the paper on it. Let's see if that works. What I want to do is align the rings opposite. There we go. And then just kind of push them in on themselves, you know, from either side. And see if we can get it going the right direction, huh? I thought I had it started there. Oh, I don't have anything lined up over here. There we go. Okay, now we're not getting anywhere fast. I think the cardboard would have actually done a pretty good job. But, the rings aligned either side. Let's see here, this is designed to hold like this. Feed back through. See if I can get it on this side here. Okay, let's figure this out. Figure out why this won't go on here. Just seem to run into the same problem over and over, huh? Maybe just straight electrical tape. Let's try that. Alright, I managed to get the piston fully started in there. Let's rotate it down to bottom dead center. And we'll just bring it all together that way. And then once it's seated in place here, There we go. Okay. Easy, right? Oh, yeah. There it is. Okay, next, head gasket and head. So you want to make sure to use the right head gasket here. There's a couple different ones, and you can just line that up on your head to make sure you're putting in the right one. But this is the right one for this engine. It's got this little deal here. There's another one that has kind of an offset to that one. Again, we got to feed everything down through and get it seated on here. Like so. And then comes our head. We can hook up this tensioner. I think I want to hook up this tensioner after I where are you going? Okay, there's our head. Holy smokes. Everything's fed through. Still looking good there. All that stuff's okay. Unbelievable. Complete rebuild after, just not very long. Okay, it says in the manual to lube our head bolts here. So let's see if we can find those. A few things here. I put our valve caps on there, and that's going to be so your these are what your cams right on here, but we're ready to go with these head bolts. And I'm just going to hand start them here and then get them snugged down with the gun. The way that you're supposed to do these, and I'll read the exact torque specs off here in a second, but see, I think it's to avoid stuff like that. See how it kind of wrenched down on this side? And the torque specs are, let's see here. Torque specs are, let's see, we oiled 18, 30, then loosen, then 15, 26, then 180, then 180. 18, 30, 15, 26. Great. Okay, now we loosen. We'll just do a half turn loosen. Yeah, so you go a half turn and it's completely loose. 180. 180. Completely loose. And 180. Okay. Alright, now, what did we say here? 18? I mean, just something stupid, I guess. There's 20, 19, 18. Okay, so we'll tighten back up here. Cross pattern. Super light. Okay, let's double check here. We were doing this right. Alright, and then 26. So it's 15, 26 on the tighten up. I mean, it's just light and then a little bit heavier, I guess, is the general consensus there. But alright, so okay, we'll start back over on this side. This is the stupidest way to tighten down a freaking head. Okay, now we go to a wrench and we do 180 and then 180 again in a cross pattern. Yes, I carry a cheater pipe in my car. So the most important part here is just to not stress out too much. Because when they don't give you a torque spec, I mean, they're basically saying, you know, just tighten it down until it feels good. So. There goes my tensioner. Yeah, and don't lose track of where you started and where you ended here. Did I not have that one all the way? See, it doesn't really matter, because you're just feeling it out. If they were to give you a torque spec, that would mean they have a value that they want you to reach and a known stopping point, but this way is basically saying tighten it down as much as you can. Basically torque to yield on these bolts. I mean, that is super tight. There we go. Yeah, I mean, they're ridiculous tight. I think that's the end game. Get them ridiculous tight. Okay. So I guess while we're in here, we could hook up some of these things, like this hose clamp here. These are fun videos to make. Even though I'm struggling along, I know this video is going to help some poor guy out there who's really struggling along, which is pretty cool. So I took some pictures of this as I was taking it apart. This cam with the little deal on the back of it here, that one is going to be, that one's going to be your exhaust. And we might as well try to get this thing lined up as good as we can here while we're going back together with it. So the exhaust was the exhaust was lined up going basically like that. And the way that looks over here is you've got an E and then an I and an E. And the I and the E, one set of them lines up with the way the lobes are pointing, and then the other one lines up with how it's going to align with the other cam when it's in here. So, let's see here. Yeah, intake I and E. So the lobes are kind of going to be facing away from each other like that, as it's going back together here. Not quite. Okay, so we got something down there. That's indicating where our top dead center is. And we want to rotate around. Oh, see there? We weren't at top dead center. Top dead center is going to be right around there somewhere. Yeah, there it is. I felt it click into place. So right about there is top dead center. So that's where we want to align our valves. Alright, so here is our exhaust side here, intake side here. You can see the I and the E down there, kind of. Yeah, there's I and E lined up. And all the slack was on this side because I did the exhaust cam first there. So if you look, I mean, you can't really see down in there, but where this slack is being taken up down there by the tensioner over here, it's tight on the exhaust side, loose on the intake side, so the slack is in the right place, I guess you could say. And we're at top dead center. So let's get the cap back on here. And then these two bolts down here, these are 90 inch-pounds, and these are probably about the same up here. The only thing, well, what does this do? Oh, that's, I guess, for there. Okay. Yeah, that's for there. So what was concerning about this? Is that right? Why are these so long? Okay, so those definitely aren't for that. Yeah, there we go. That's right. And I'm guessing, yeah, if these go down here, these probably go in here, yeah. And then these go in here. Okay, there we go. Like so. That all looks right. Alright, before I get this buttoned up, I just wanted to show you what I'm looking at here. So here's top dead center. The E and the I line up, and then you've got the cam lobes facing this way and this way. And as I rotate the engine toward the exhaust side, you can see it goes down. We've got our exhaust opening here. Keep going. Cylinder's coming back up. Exhaust closes. Intake's opening up here on the downstroke. And then intake is closing. We're coming up to our compression stroke here. And right in here somewhere is right there, top dead center. We should be able to look over here, see I and E lined up, lobes out, perfectly in time. So that's how you time your 4-stroke, in this case Ranger 570 engine, but any of the 4-stroke stuff. They've got a torque pattern right on here, so I think we're all set here. We can get our valve cover back on there and start putting the rest of this back together. So one thing you're really going to want to pay attention to is like your intake. So all I know about this is that it was in a mud hole of some sort. But you can see here the extent to which it was in said mud hole was pretty extensive. So we Yeah, a little bit of mud. Just a touch in there. Holy smokes. I don't even know how this thing was running. I mean, it was running. It was blowing smoke. So, you know. Man, that is still caked up in there. Jiminy Christmas. I mean, it is caked in there. And it was caked in this other piece of the intake too. I mean, just full of mud. So, dig all this out. Yeah, with these electronic ones, it's almost impossible to get them to open up. So, I'll just be spraying and spraying. Yeah, this is where that attention to detail really comes into play. You gonna do a good job, or are you gonna do a half-assed job? You know, your name's on it. Might as well do the best you can. Man, it feels nice when you get in the home stretch and you can only see a couple bolts left in the bottom of your bin there. I've only got 4 left, and looks like I have got the right amount of connectors left to connect. There's this one here, one to this, and then it just looks like the butterfly there, and we should be good to go. Alright, looks like one of the last things we need to do here is refill our radiator fluid, but it is actually full back here, so I'm going to leave this loose, and then once the thermostat opens up, we can fill that up. I think we're about there. I just got to hook up the air box and the battery. Yeah, it would be a bad decision to hook this back up. It is full of dirt and mud. A little mud hole, man, I don't know. It's got me questioning. Anyways, I'm going to find a garden hose somewheres over here. Well, this is interesting. One of the hardest things to get on here apparently is the air box. It looks like it's mounted down here on a frame mount, and like it is just a bear to get in here. There's really no easy way to get it aligned. Unless I'm missing something. I've taken the exhaust loose, so it's back as far as it's going to go, and it is just still. Yeah, there's a frame rail back here that it's not allowed to kind of come through in order to actually get it on there. The little notch in the frame just isn't quite deep enough or wide enough to get this on here, so you just kind of have to muscle it on there and then make sure it doesn't kink up at the bottom, it looks like, and then it'll go on there. Whew. Alright, well, here we go, moment of truth. The only thing I've got left is this cover. It looks like they used metal screws or concrete screws maybe to hold this on there. But throw that stuff back here for now. I think I've got the battery hooked back up. Let's give her a go here. Can't tell. Hopefully it tells me if I'm in neutral. Nope, I'm in reverse. There's neutral. Park. Let's try it in park. Alright, well that was a successful rebuild. I'm going to let this thing warm up and heat cycle, let those rings really seat in. Got them doused in oil. It's a good running little machine. 5 minutes heat cycle, then we'll turn it back off. Make sure to put oil in it before you go starting it. Got oil in it, I'm going to check that coolant. As soon as it starts dropping down, we'll add some more. Alright guys, that is going to do it for another episode of Man Time. If you like these type of videos, fixing stuff, farm life, homesteading, farmsteading, this channel's for you. Go ahead and subscribe right now. Got this Ranger all fixed up. Hopefully that was helpful for you. Get out there, have you some man time too.